Jake Morrison woke up to loud knocking on his front door. He looked at the clock beside his bed. It was midnight. Who would come to his house this late? He lived alone in a small house outside Willow Creek, Montana. His nearest neighbor was 2 miles away. The knocking came again, more urgent this time. Jake got out of bed and put on his jeans. He walked to the window and looked outside. A woman stood on his porch. She looked tall and thin, but he could not see her face clearly in the darkness. Jake went to the door but did not open it. "Who is it?" He called out. "Please, Jake, I need your help." The voice was soft and familiar, but he could not place it. "Do I know you?" "Yes, we met 6 months ago." "Please open the door." Jake thought for a moment. 6 months ago, something strange had happened. He remembered finding a crashed vehicle in the woods behind his garage. It was not like any car or truck he had ever seen. The woman inside had been hurt but alive. He opened the door slowly and stepped back. The woman walked into the light of his living room and Jake's breath caught in his throat. She was the same woman from 6 months ago, but now he could see her clearly. Her skin was pale blue like winter sky. Her hair was silver and fell to her shoulders. Her eyes were large and purple. She was beautiful but definitely not human. "Zara," Jake said. He remembered her name now. "You remember me?" she said with relief. Jake nodded. "Your ship crashed. I helped fix it. You stayed for 3 days while you waited for your people to rescue you." "Yes," Zara said. "But there is more. Things happened between us that you might not remember clearly." Jake felt confused. Those 3 days were strange in his memory. He remembered working on her ship, talking with her, sharing meals. But some parts felt fuzzy, like looking through fog. "I do not understand," Jake said. Zara looked nervous. She put her hand on her stomach and Jake noticed for the first time that she looked different. Her stomach was round and large. "I am pregnant, Jake. The child is yours." Jake stared at her. "That is impossible." "No, it is not. My people and humans are more similar than you know. We can have children together, though it is very rare." Jake sat down heavily in his chair. "This cannot be real." Zara moved closer to him. "I know it is hard to believe, but I am telling the truth. We were together for one night during those 3 days. You held me when I was scared and hurt. We found comfort in each other." Jake tried to remember, but that part of his memory was still unclear. "Why can I not remember it clearly?" "When my people rescued me, they tried to erase your memories of our time together. They thought it would be easier for both of us. But they could not erase everything." Jake looked at her round belly. "If this is true, why are you here now? Where are your people?" Zara's face became sad. "They found out about the pregnancy 3 months ago. When they learned the father was human, they were very angry. Having children with other species is forbidden among my people. What did they do? They wanted to remove the child from my body and punish me. But I escaped before they could do it. I stole a small ship and came back to Earth." Jake stood up and began walking around the room. This was too much to understand. "So you are saying I am going to be a father to a half-alien child?" "Yes," Zara said quietly. "I am sorry to bring this trouble to you, but I had nowhere else to go. My people will not help me now. I am alone." Jake stopped walking and looked at her. Despite everything strange about this situation, he felt something inside his chest. During those 3 days 6 months ago, he had felt connected to this woman. Even with his unclear memories, he remembered feeling sad when her people came to take her away. "Are you in danger?" Jake asked. "Yes, the pregnancy is difficult. Human and Velani children are not supposed to exist. My body is fighting the child and the child is fighting my body. I may die if I do not get help." "What kind of help?" Zara put her hand on her belly again. "I do not know, but I think being near you helps. When I arrived tonight, I felt stronger than I have in weeks." Jake looked out his window at the dark Montana landscape. His life had been simple. He fixed cars and trucks at his small garage. He lived quietly and bothered no one. Now a pregnant alien woman was asking for his help to save her life and their child. "How long before the baby comes?" Jake asked. 2 months, maybe 3. Jake was quiet for a long time. Zara waited, not saying anything. Finally, Jake looked at her again. "You can stay here," he said. "I will help you." Zara's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you, Jake. I know this is asking too much." "No," Jake said. "If this child is mine, then I want to help. That is what a father should do." Zara smiled for the first time since arriving. "There is something else you should know." "What?" "My people are looking for me. They will not stop until they find me. They think our child is dangerous. Jake felt a chill run down his back. Dangerous how? They believe mixing human and Velani blood creates something new. Something they cannot control. Jake looked at Zara's belly and wondered what kind of child was growing inside. Whatever happened next, his quiet life in Montana was over. He was going to be a father, and he was going to protect his family no matter what came looking for them. The next morning, Jake made breakfast while Zara slept on his couch. He had given her his bedroom, but she said she felt safer in the main room where she could see all the doors and windows. Jake understood. If people were hunting her, she needed to stay alert. When Zara woke up, Jake noticed something strange. The plants near the window looked different. The small cactus on his windowsill had grown new shoots overnight. The dying fern in the corner now had bright green leaves. "Did you do something to my plants?" Jake asked. Zara looked at the plants and frowned. "I did not mean to. Sometimes my abilities affect things around me. The pregnancy makes it worse. What abilities? My people can influence living things. We can make plants grow faster, help sick animals get better, sometimes even heal people. But I cannot control it right now." Jake poured coffee for both of them. "Is that why you think the baby might be dangerous?" "Partly," Zara said. She sipped the coffee and smiled. "This is good. I missed human food. Tell me more about what makes our child special." Zara was quiet for a moment. "Velani children are born with mental connections to their parents and their community. We share thoughts and feelings, but human minds work differently. You think as individuals. You make your own choices, and our child? No one knows. Maybe she will have Velani mental powers but human independence. My people fear that combination." Jake noticed something. "She, the baby, is a girl?" Zara nodded and put her hand on her belly. "I can sense her sometimes. She is strong and curious, like her father." They ate breakfast in comfortable silence. Then Jake had an idea. "I have a friend who is a doctor. Maybe she can help us understand what is happening with your pregnancy. Can we trust her?" Lisa Parker is a good person. She runs a small clinic 20 miles from here. She helps anyone who needs it and asks few questions." Zara looked worried. "What if she is scared of me?" "Lisa has seen many strange things in her work. She will help us." 2 hours later, Jake drove his pickup truck down a dirt road with Zara beside him. She wore one of his baseball caps and a jacket to hide her unusual appearance. They had to be careful. Even in rural Montana, a blue-skinned woman would attract attention. Dr. Lisa Parker was a woman in her 50s with gray hair and kind eyes. She had been Jake's doctor since he was a child. When they arrived at her clinic, she was treating a farmer's injured cow. "Jake," Lisa said when she saw him, "what brings you here?" Then she noticed Zara and stopped talking. "Lisa, this is Zara. She needs medical help." Lisa looked at Zara carefully. Even with the hat and jacket, Zara's unusual features were visible. "Come inside," Lisa said quietly. In her examination room, Zara removed the hat and jacket. Lisa stared for a moment, then became professional again. "I am a doctor," she said to Zara. "Whatever you are, I will help if I can." "Thank you," Zara said. Lisa examined Zara with her medical equipment. The ultrasound machine showed the baby clearly. Lisa stared at the screen for a long time without speaking. "This is remarkable," Lisa finally said. "The child appears healthy, but her development is unusual. She has organs I do not recognize." "What does that mean?" Jake asked. "I think she has abilities from both parents," Lisa said. "Human physical traits and something else. Something new." Over the next few hours, Lisa ran more tests. She took blood samples and checked Zara's vital signs. Everything was different from normal human readings, but Zara seemed healthy. "The pregnancy is progressing well," Lisa told them. "But I am concerned about the delivery. This child is unique. I do not know what to expect." As they prepared to leave, Lisa noticed something strange. Several sick animals that she had been treating were suddenly better. A dog with a broken leg was walking normally. A cat with an infection was playing like a kitten. "Zara," Lisa said carefully, "did you do something to my animals?" Zara looked embarrassed. "I cannot help it. Being around sick creatures makes me want to heal them. The pregnancy makes my abilities stronger." Lisa looked amazed. "You healed them just by being near them?" "Velani have always been connected to life," Zara explained. "We can encourage living things to be healthy and strong." "That is incredible," Lisa said. "No wonder your people think your child might be special." As they drove home, Jake noticed more strange things. Flowers along the roadside seemed brighter. Trees looked healthier. Even the grass appeared greener where they had walked. Is this normal for your people? Jake asked. No, Zara said. My abilities have never been this strong. I think the human part of our child is changing me somehow. That evening, as Jake cooked dinner, he thought about everything he had learned. His child would be born with powers he could barely understand. She would be the first of her kind, mixing two different species in ways no one could predict. But Jake also realized something else. Whatever abilities his daughter had, she would also be human. She would have the freedom to choose her own path. She would not be bound by the rules of Zara's people. After dinner, as they sat on the porch watching the sunset, Zara suddenly grabbed Jake's arm. They are coming, she said, her voice filled with fear. Who? My people. I can sense their ships. They have found Earth. Jake looked up at the darkening sky. Somewhere up there, alien ships were approaching. They were coming for Zara and their unborn child. How long do we have? Jake asked. Days, maybe a week, Zara said. They will scan the planet looking for me. When they find me, they will take our daughter. Jake put his arm around Zara. No, they will not. This is my home and you are under my protection now. No one is taking our child. Zara looked at him with hope in her purple eyes. You would fight them for us? Jake thought about his quiet life, his simple existence. Then he thought about his daughter, growing inside Zara. This child would be part human, and that meant she deserved the same freedom every human should have. Yes, Jake said firmly. I will fight for our family. 3 days later, the news reported strange objects in space near Earth. The government said they were investigating, but Jake knew the truth. Zara's people had arrived. We need to leave this place, Zara said as they watched the news together. They will find me if we stay here too long. Jake had been thinking the same thing. He called his friend Danny Cooper, who had served in the army for 10 years. Danny lived in the mountains and knew how to hide from people who did not want to be found. I need help, Jake told Danny over the phone. I cannot explain everything, but someone dangerous is looking for me and a friend. Come to my place, Danny said without asking questions. I know places where no one will find you. Jake packed supplies while Zara rested. Her condition was getting worse. She was tired all the time and her skin had become paler, but the strange effects around her were getting stronger. His entire garden had grown 3 weeks' worth in 3 days. Wild animals came to his house and lay peacefully in his yard. They left that evening in Jake's truck. As they drove through the mountains, Zara pointed to the sky. There, she said. Can you see them? Jake looked up and saw lights moving between the stars. They were too high and moved too strangely to be airplanes. Your people? Yes, 3 ships. They are scanning the planet section by section. How long before they find us? A few days if we keep moving. But Jake, I am getting weaker. I do not know if I can travel much longer. Danny Cooper's cabin was hidden deep in the forest. Danny was a big man with a thick beard who had spent his life hunting and fishing in these mountains. When he saw Zara, his eyes went wide, but he did not ask questions. Army teach you not to ask too many questions, Danny said to Jake, but I can see this lady needs help. They stayed in Danny's cabin for 2 days. Danny showed them a cave system in the mountains where people could hide for weeks if needed. He had stored food and water there during his army days. On the 3rd day, Dr. Lisa Parker arrived at the cabin. Jake had called her when Zara's condition got worse. I brought medical supplies, Lisa said, but I also brought news. Government agents came to my clinic asking about unusual patients. They know something is happening. That afternoon, black cars arrived in Willow Creek. Men in suits went from house to house asking questions. Jake's neighbor called to warn him that agents had searched his house. They are looking for you, Danny said. Government and aliens both. What do we do? Jake asked. We go to the cave, Danny said. It is the only safe place now. They packed quickly and hiked into the mountains. Zara had trouble walking, so Jake and Danny took turns helping her. The cave was hidden behind a waterfall, and the entrance was hard to see unless you knew where to look. Inside the cave, Danny had created a small living area with sleeping bags, canned food, and battery-powered lights. It was not comfortable, but it was safe. That night, Zara's condition got much worse. She developed a fever and started having trouble breathing. Lisa examined her with a small medical kit. The baby is putting too much stress on her body, Lisa said quietly to Jake. I do not think she has much time. Jake felt panic rising in his chest. What can we do? I do not know, Lisa admitted. This is beyond anything I have seen before. Outside the cave, they could hear helicopters flying overhead. Bright lights swept across the mountains. Both human and alien forces were searching for them. "They are getting closer," Danny said, looking out through the waterfall. "We might have to move deeper into the caves." But Zara could not travel anymore. She lay on a sleeping bag, her breathing shallow and her skin almost white. Jake held her hand and felt helpless. "I am sorry," Zara whispered. "I brought this danger to you and your world." "Do not talk like that," Jake said. "You and our daughter are going to be fine." Zara smiled weakly. "She is strong. I can feel her trying to help me. But she is just a baby. She does not know how." Dr. Lisa checked Zara's pulse and looked worried. "Her heartbeat is irregular. I think she is going into early labor." "Is that bad?" Jake asked. "The baby is not ready to be born yet, and Zara is too weak for childbirth." Outside, the sound of helicopters grew louder. Danny came back from watching the entrance. "They found the waterfall," he said. "Both sides. Government agents on the ground and something else in the sky." Jake looked at Zara, then at his friends who were risking everything to help him. "Maybe I should go out there. Turn myself in. Keep them away from all of you." "No," Zara said firmly. "If they take you, they will use you to control me and our daughter. We must stay together." "She is right," Lisa said. "Separated, you are both vulnerable. Together, you might have a chance." Danny picked up his rifle. "Whatever happens, I am not letting anyone hurt this lady or her baby." That night, as they waited in the cave, Zara told Jake more about her people and their fears. "Vailani society is based on order and control," she explained. "Everyone has their place and no one questions the rules. But humans are different. You fight for your freedom. You make your own choices." "That is just how we are," Jake said. "Yes. And our daughter will have both natures, Vailani mental abilities and human independence. My people think that combination could destroy their way of life." "Maybe it should be destroyed," Jake said angrily. "Any society that would hunt a pregnant woman and her unborn child does not deserve to survive." Zara looked at him with love in her eyes. "That is exactly what they fear about humans. You never accept that things cannot be changed." As dawn approached, Zara suddenly sat up with a gasp. "They are here," she said. "Both groups. They are surrounding the cave." Jake looked out through the waterfall and saw lights everywhere. Government vehicles on one side and strange floating craft on the other. In the middle, a tall figure in silver clothing walked toward the cave entrance. "That is Thane Kelvoran," Zara said with fear in her voice. "He is the one hunting me." Danny checked his rifle. Lisa gathered her medical supplies. Jake helped Zara to her feet. "What do we do now?" Jake asked. "We face them," Zara said. "Our daughter deserves to be born free, not as a prisoner." Jake looked at his friends, then at Zara. Whatever happened next, they would meet it together. He was not going to let anyone take his family without a fight. The tall alien in silver clothing stopped at the waterfall entrance. He was similar to Zara, but larger and more threatening. His skin was darker blue and his eyes glowed with cold light. "Zara of the Vailani," he called out in perfect English. "I am Thane Kelvoran. You will surrender yourself in the abomination you carry." "Go away, Thane," Zara called back. "I claim sanctuary on this world." Thane laughed. "Humans cannot offer sanctuary to our people. They are a primitive species with no authority over Vailani law." Jake stepped forward, even though his heart was pounding with fear. "This is my planet and my home. Zara is under my protection. You are the human male," Thane said, studying Jake with interest. "You are responsible for corrupting one of our people." "I am responsible for loving her," Jake said firmly. Behind Thane, more aliens appeared. They wore dark clothing and carried weapons that hummed with energy. On the other side of the clearing, government agents in black suits watched but did not interfere. Suddenly, Zara cried out in pain and fell to her knees. Lisa rushed to her side. "The baby is coming," Lisa said urgently. "We need to get her lying down." "Not here," Danny said, watching the armed aliens. Too dangerous, but Zara could not be moved. The labor had started and it was happening fast. Jake knelt beside her and took her hand. "I am here," he said. "Everything will be all right." Dr. Lisa worked quickly, using her medical supplies to prepare for the birth. Danny kept his rifle pointed at the cave entrance. Outside, Thane waited with growing impatience. "You cannot delay this forever," Thane called. "Surrender now and the human male will not be harmed." Zara gripped Jake's hand tighter as another pain hit her. "Do not trust him," she whispered. "He will kill you as soon as he has me." The labor continued for 2 hours. Zara was in terrible pain, but she tried to stay quiet so the enemies outside would not know what was happening. Lisa did her best with limited supplies, but this was unlike any birth she had ever seen. "Something is wrong," Lisa whispered to Jake. "The baby is not positioned correctly." "What does that mean?" "I might not be able to deliver her safely." Jake felt panic, but he forced himself to stay calm. Zara needed him to be strong. "What can we do?" "Pray," Lisa said. At that moment, something strange happened. The cave began to glow with soft light. It came from Zara, but it was different from her usual abilities. The light was warm and comforting like sunshine. "The baby," Zara gasped. "She is trying to help." The glowing light grew brighter. Outside the cave, they heard voices of surprise from both the aliens and the government agents. The light was visible even through the waterfall. "What is that?" Thane demanded. Jake did not answer. He was watching something amazing happen. The light from Zara seemed to be healing her, making her stronger. Her breathing became easier and her pain seemed to lessen. "I can see her," Lisa said with wonder. The baby moved into the right position. 20 minutes later, Jake heard the most beautiful sound in the world. His daughter's first cry. Dr. Lisa wrapped the baby in a clean towel and placed her in Jake's arms. The child looked mostly human, but she had Zara's silver hair and slightly pointed ears. Her eyes were bright green, a color neither parent had. "She is perfect," Jake whispered. "Hope," Zara said weakly. "Her name is Hope." As Jake held his daughter, something incredible happened. The baby opened her eyes and looked at him, and suddenly Jake felt connected to every living thing around him. He could sense Zara's love, Lisa's amazement, Danny's protective feelings, even the fear of the people outside the cave. "She is doing that," Zara explained. "She can connect minds without taking away individual choice. It is something new." The connection faded, but Jake still felt changed by it. He understood now why Thane's people were afraid. Hope represented something they could not control. Outside, Thane's voice became more demanding. "I can sense the birth has happened. Bring the child out now or we will come in and take her." "Let them try," Danny said, checking his rifle. But Jake made a different decision. "No more hiding," he said. "If they want my daughter, they can face me directly." "Jake, no," Zara protested weakly. "This is what humans do," Jake said. "We stand up to bullies. We protect our families. We do not hide when someone threatens the people we love." Jake walked to the cave entrance carrying Hope. The baby was calm in his arms, as if she understood what was happening. "I am Jake Morrison," he called out to Thane. "This is my daughter. If you want her, you will have to go through me." Thane looked surprised by Jake's boldness. "You are one human male with primitive weapons." "I have 20 trained soldiers, maybe," Jake said. "But this is Earth, these are our mountains, and we do not give up our children to aliens who think they can push us around." Government Agent Carol Wright stepped forward from the other group. "Mr. Morrison, I am Agent Wright. I represent the United States government. We are prepared to offer you protection." "In exchange for what?" Jake asked. "Cooperation. We want to study the child." "No," Jake said firmly. "No one is studying my daughter. She is not a science experiment." Thane raised his weapon. "Enough talk. Surrender the hybrid, or we will take her by force." At that moment, Hope opened her eyes and looked at all the people around them. The same connecting feeling Jake had experienced in the cave spread to everyone present. For just a moment, humans and aliens alike felt each other's thoughts and emotions. The government agents felt Jake's love for his daughter. The Velani soldiers felt Zara's pain and fear. Everyone felt Hope's innocence and potential. Then the connection ended, leaving everyone staring at the small baby in Jake's arms. "She did that," Agent Wright said in amazement. "A newborn baby connected all our minds." "Impossible," Thane said, but his voice showed uncertainty. Jake looked at his daughter and made a promise. "Hope Morrison, no one is going to hurt you or use you. Your father guarantees it." The standoff continued, with everyone unsure what would happen next. But Jake was no longer afraid. He was holding the future in his arms, and he would do whatever it took to keep her safe. Jake stood at the cave entrance holding Hope, while armed aliens and government agents surrounded them. The baby looked up at him with her bright green eyes, completely calm despite the danger around them. "Last chance, human," Thane said, his weapon still pointed at Jake. "Give us the hybrid child." "No," Jake said simply. Thane activated his weapon. It glowed with blue energy and made a high whining sound. Then you will die with her. But before Thane could fire, something unexpected happened. Several of his own soldiers lowered their weapons. "Commander," one of them said, "the child's mental touch showed us something. The human male truly loves her. He sees her as his daughter, not as a weapon or tool." "Silence," Thane ordered. "Love is weakness. The hybrid must be destroyed before it corrupts more of our people." "Maybe corruption is what we need," the soldier said quietly. Agent Wright stepped closer. "Mr. Morrison, my government can protect you better than these mountains can." "I do not need protection from my own government," Jake said. "I need you to recognize that my daughter is an American citizen who deserves to live free." "She is not human," Agent Wright pointed out. "She is half human, and that half makes her one of us," Jake replied. "We do not abandon our own." Inside the cave, Dr. Lisa was helping Zara recover from the birth. Zara was still weak but determined to reach her family. She slowly walked to the cave entrance. "Thane," she said, her voice carrying clearly across the clearing, "I renounce my citizenship among the Velani. I choose to live as a human." Thane turned his glowing weapon toward her. "Traitor, you will die with your corrupt offspring." "Wait," called another voice. More Velani soldiers stepped out from behind the trees, but these ones were not pointing weapons. Instead, they walked toward Thane with their hands raised peacefully. "Commander," their leader said, "we felt what the child shared with us. For the first time in our lives, we experienced individual choice. We choose not to kill an innocent baby." "Mutiny," Thane snarled. "You have all been corrupted by human weakness." "Maybe," the soldier agreed. "But it feels better than a lifetime of following orders without question." The situation was changing rapidly. Half of Thane's soldiers had joined the peaceful group. Agent Wright was talking quietly into her radio. Danny had emerged from the cave with his rifle ready. Jake realized this was the moment that would decide everything. He stepped forward, still holding hope. "Everyone listen to me," Jake said loudly. "I am just a mechanic from Montana. I fix trucks and mind my own business. But you all came to my planet hunting my family." He looked around at all the faces watching him. "This baby is 2 days old. She has never hurt anyone. Her only crime is existing, and every one of you wants to either study her, control her, or kill her." Jake's voice grew stronger. "But she is human enough to deserve human rights. The right to live free. The right to make her own choices. The right to be loved by her parents without interference." Hope made a small sound in his arms, and everyone looked at her. "You all felt what she can do," Jake continued. "She connects minds without controlling them. She shows people different ways of thinking without forcing change. That terrifies some of you because you cannot control it." He looked directly at Thane. "But humans have never been controllable. We fight for our freedom. We protect our families. We stand up to anyone who tries to push us around, no matter how powerful they are." Thane raised his weapon again. "Enough speeches. The abomination dies now." But as he prepared to fire, Hope opened her eyes and looked at him. Once again, the mental connection spread to everyone present. This time it was stronger and clearer. Through Hope's innocent perspective, they all experienced pure love. The love Jake felt for his daughter. The love Zara felt despite her pain. The protective love of Danny and Dr. Lisa. Even the growing love some of the Velani soldiers felt for this small being. When the connection ended, Thane was staring at Hope with confusion. "I felt," he began, then stopped. "You felt what it means to choose love over fear," said one of his soldiers. "Something our people forgot long ago." Thane lowered his weapon slightly. "The hybrid is still dangerous. Only to systems built on control and fear," Jake said. "She threatens no one who believes in freedom." Agent Wright made her decision. The United States government recognizes Hope Morrison as an American citizen with full rights and protections. "Impossible," Thane protested. "She is Velani. She is also human," Agent Wright said firmly. "And we protect our own." The peaceful Velani soldiers gathered around their leader. "Commander, we request permission to remain on Earth and learn about individual choice." Thane looked at his divided forces, then at the small baby in Jake's arms. Finally, he deactivated his weapon. "The mission has failed," he said bitterly. "But this is not over." "Yes, it is," Jake said. "You came to my world to hurt my family. Now you know that humans do not back down from bullies. Take that message back to your leaders." Thane and the remaining loyal soldiers retreated to their ship. The peaceful Vailani stayed behind to request asylum on Earth. Agent Wright approached Jake. "We will need to monitor the situation, but you and your family will be left alone." "That is all I ever wanted," Jake said. As the various groups dispersed, Jake walked back into the cave where Zara was resting. He sat beside her and placed Hope in her arms. "We did it," he said quietly. "She is safe." "For now," Zara agreed. "But Jake, this is just the beginning. Hope will face challenges we cannot imagine." Jake looked at his daughter, already sleeping peacefully in her mother's arms. "Then we will face them together, as a family." 6 months later, Jake was back to fixing trucks at his garage. But now Zara worked beside him, her mechanical skills helping their business grow. Hope played in a crib nearby, watched over by both parents. The baby was developing quickly. She could already sit up and seemed to understand everything around her. Sometimes Jake felt brief mental touches from her, gentle connections that never lasted long but always filled him with warmth. Dr. Lisa visited often, amazed by Hope's development. Danny had become an unofficial uncle, teaching Hope to recognize different bird calls even though she was still too young to speak. Other changes had happened too. The Vailani who stayed on Earth were learning about human culture. Some had started families of their own with willing human partners. Agent Wright checked on them regularly but kept her promise to leave Jake's family alone. One evening, as Jake sat on his porch watching Hope crawl around the yard, Zara joined him. "Do you regret it?" she asked. "Your quiet life is gone forever." Jake watched his daughter discover a butterfly and giggle with delight when it landed on her nose. "No regrets," he said. "This is better than anything I had before." Hope looked up at both her parents and smiled. For just a moment, Jake felt her happiness as if it were his own. In that feeling was a promise of the future she would create, a world where different people could live together in peace. Jake Morrison had been just a mechanic from Montana. Now he was the father of the future, and he had never been prouder of anything in his life.